I'm Lauren Cresco. I'm the production designer on Rizzoli and Isles, and this is my second year on the show. I am responsible for all of the environments that you see on the show. If it's in a bar, we have to design that. Sometimes we'll adapt a location, sometimes we build something from scratch. But basically, the physical environments you see are myself and my department. We're in Little Tokyo, we're in downtown LA, and it was very much sort of an urban plaza, which worked for our purposes for the story. But one of the first things we did was bring in trees, because Boston has a huge amount of parkland for a city. This is supposed to be set in a place called Copley Square, which when I first read the script struck fear into my heart, because Copley Square is very specific to Boston, has very specific architecture. It's an area where you have the Boston Public Library, you have the Copley Fairmont, you have a big plaza. And so when we found this area, I said, okay, it is an urban plaza. That makes sense. It'll sort of harken back to Copley Square. And more importantly, when you look around, there's nothing that's sort of what I like to call egregiously LA. Everything wasn't peach or salmon. So I felt there was brick, there was nice elements, and it felt like it could play for Boston. This is specifically a food truck episode, so we brought in the 3 trucks that are here. They've all been tweaked one way or another. The one in the back right now is what we call our hero truck, our main truck. And so that's a cleared name. We actually did a full photo shoot for all of the pictures of all of the food. We bring in all the elements to make it look more like a populated area in Boston where people would want to sit down and eat, as opposed to just a sort of just an urban walkthrough. Boston is a much older city. It has a much older architectural style. And so we try to find locations that embrace that. One of the things that's fun about here is we have brick next to new architecture. This was sort of a safe area for us because it embraced those two things. The trees are a big part of it here. The street lamps are a big part of it. There's about 200 feet of red curb that we had to paint out. That's something most people don't know, but New York and Boston, they don't paint their curbs like we do. They're actually all real granite in Boston, so why would you paint them? Some of the things we added here, these trash cans that the set decorator David Conniff found, are all up and down Mass Ave, and they're very popular in the East Coast. The benches, a lot of times they'll have metal, 2 things that stand up better to the elements. I was going to make a shirt that said, "Because of the snow," and just wear it on location scouts, because directors would keep turning to me and saying, "Why can't I shoot this?" And I would say, you know, because we have all those specific things. Here we had something change from the scout to shooting, which was there are 2 enormous 7 by 20 foot banners underneath our banners that we were told, oh, of course they can take them down. Which is why we now have 2 banners covering the ones that didn't come down. But it was a great opportunity for us to integrate 2 things. One, that there is a farmer's market at Copley Plaza, and then the Boston Public Library mural. The Boston Public Library is the other sort of big building at Copley Square. And so I had the photo, so we didn't have to get a clearance one. And then the graphic designer found all the stock photos of the kids, and he had put very generic sort of events under them, and I said, oh, no, we're going to the BPL website and we're finding out what they really do. And also yesterday is when I discovered for the first time that we were doing a whole visual effects moment, which I didn't realize we were going to put the skyline of Boston in, and that was sort of a surprise. This is the direction to me that I thought was pretty safe to shoot, but it's a great opportunity for visual effects to put in the Boston skyline. He's just going to have to create his line to drop it into, and that's the tricky part because we have some elements with the streetlights cutting into it. One of the things I am so grateful for as a production designer now is the internet. When we did the Bunker Hill Parade last year, I actually Google walked the entire parade route and took still photos of all of the storefronts. I also, before I started this job, went back to Boston, and just as if I were a tourist. I shot something like 1,500 photos, and I've printed all those out. We have those in books, so whenever my team needs anything, we go to that first for research. And I have to admit, there have been several times when I've made the call back to the parents and said, could you go shoot a car? I need an inspection sticker close-up. So that's actually come in handy a lot. One of the things I really wanted to apply in the show is get in the little details that you might not notice, which is, either the plates or the stickers. And one of the other things I'm very adamant about is not just making it Boston pizza, Boston cab. I do a lot of research on Google, walk around, and if something is Smith, I'll say, can we get Smithson? You try to get as close as you can. If you compared the copy to the original, they would say, oh yeah, wait a minute, I get why that is. It's sort of easy to coast and not worry about it, but I think those little details really matter. I'm very pushy about it. I think I've become sort of more of a Yankee after doing this show than I was before, because I'm so determined to get as many things right as we can.